Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Add excitement to your holidays with Ohio Lottery Holiday Scratch-Offs, including $1 holiday cash and $5 holiday lucky times 10, or Holiday Bonus Millions with a 200 times multiplier and a $2 million top prize. Plus, enjoy second chance drawings where you can win 10 times, 100 times, or 1,000 times the price of your ticket. Scratch-offs make the perfect gift, and best of all, there's no wrapping required. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Experience holiday cheer at Tanger Outlets with savings up to 70% off your favorite brands. From fragrances to accessories and the latest styles, discover the best gifts for everyone on your list. Save big at Nike Factory Store, Michael Kors, Under Armour, Coach, Polo Ralph Lauren, Kate Spade New York, and so many more. Unwrap the best at Tanger Outlets. Hundreds of brands, endless gifting options. Plan your trip at Tanger.com.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC and your daily reminder that the Reds are top of the league. Coming out of a weekend where we didn't play, we are 4 points ahead of Chelsea, 6 clear of Arsenal, and 8 clear of Manchester City, obviously with a game in hand over all of them. So the draw away to Newcastle only really benefited Chelsea because Arsenal dropped points yesterday, City dropped points on Saturday, and therefore should we beat Everton when that game is rearranged, assuming we've just matched performances with Arsenal and City until that point, well then we would go back to being 9 points clear of Arsenal and 11 points clear of Manchester City. Chelsea did close the gap. Obviously, a good win for them yesterday away to Spurs, a game in which they went 2-0 down. But ultimately, I look at Chelsea and I just don't see a team ready to compete, ready to really contend. There's flaws in that defence. The goalkeeper's average. The midfield balance is still up and down. Their attack is very reliant on Cole Palmer. Now, Jadon Sancho scored a great goal yesterday, but Cole Palmer walks away from the game with 2 goals and kind of an assist. He didn't play well. He didn't play particularly well. And if Jamie Carragher coming out with nonsense after the game about how he's been the best player in England over the last 18 months, it's just patently untrue. Like, Virgil's been better than him over the last 18 months. Bukayo Saka's been better than him over the last 18 months. And I would say Martin Odegaard as well. And that's before we look at Mo Salah. And people will say, well, Mo had a bad second half the last season. And that's fair enough. That's fine. But Mo has been much better than him this season, was much better than him in the first half of last season. So I'm not really sure there's any argument or any weight to the argument that Cole Palmer has been the best player in the league for 18 months. He's been very good. But you look at his form this season, there's quite a lot of stat padding. You know, fills his boots against Brighton and against Wolves in games in which those teams capitulated. Scores 2 penalties yesterday, but doesn't really play very well. And the sort of an assist is just a fluke deflection off a weak shot that ends up with Enzo Fernandez, who does all the work to score. Like, yes, it comes from a nice little dribble from Palmer, but ultimately he had no intention of getting the ball to Enzo Fernandez. So I'm not trying to disparage him at all. I think he's a wonderful player, and I thought that when he was at City. I got quite a lot of pushback from people when I said that I thought he was a more talented player than Harvey Elliott. But I just, this season, like, yeah, the numbers are there. You know, he's got 11 goals and 6 assists, but if you look at it, he got a goal and 3 assists against Wolves. Nothing against City in the opening game. A goal and 3 assists against Wolves, who folded in on themselves. He got an assist against Crystal Palace. Nothing against Bournemouth. A goal against West Ham. Was that a penalty? I'd have to check. He scored 4 against Brighton. Got an assist against Forest. Scored against Newcastle. Doesn't score then for 3 straight games. Scores against Villa. Scores against Southampton. Robbed a goal. Didn't play well. Robbed a goal. And then got his 2 penalties against Spurs. Like, the numbers are great, but the performance levels haven't been there. And he doesn't really show up in big games, which is, you know, it's a criticism of him, but he is a very young player. So you're not going to be overly harsh on him. And you love him in big moments of games, like the second penalty yesterday. Yes, they're 3-2 up, but there's still a lot of pressure on that. And he comes up and just dinks it down the middle. Like, I love his mentality, and I do think in time, as he ages, he will become an absolute world-class player. I don't think there's any doubt on that. I just think for right now, people need to be a bit more aware of the performance level and not just the productivity. You know, he's got 3 penalties this season from his 11 goals. Last season, he took an awful lot of penalties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 penalties last season in the Premier League. You rarely get that many penalties in a season. And he's brilliant from the spot. Like, I'm not trying to detract from that at all. He is as good as it gets from the penalty spot. But a lot of his goals are penalty goals. You know, we're talking 12 penalties already in the last season and 4 months out of 33 goals. 21 goals from open play is still tremendous. I know a couple of them are free kicks and whatever, but that's a much harder skill. But it does help when you're getting that many penalties. He's going to be great. He is going to be great. But there's no way he's been the best player in England over the last 18 months. There's just none. And there's no way he's the best player in the Premier League now. We have 2 better than him. Arsenal have 2 better than him. Obviously, the Rodri injury was part of what Carragher was talking about when he said that he'd been the best player for 18 months, because, I mean, nobody would argue he'd been better than Rodri last year. But he also wasn't better than Van Dijk last year. But these things always skew towards attackers. And I had one very silly young lad on Twitter yesterday say to me, oh, Van Dijk can't have been the best player in the league over the last 18 months because we weren't good defensively last year. As a team, we were not. As an individual, he was incredible. In a team that was badly coached, badly set up, tactically dreadful, with injuries all over the defense, a midfield that was ever changing, injuries in goal. He held that team together. He was the sole reason we were still in the title race in March. He was phenomenal last year. He's been phenomenal again this year. He's been the best player in the league over the last 18 months. And I actually don't think it's all that close. Because Mo had that dip. Saka's had dips. Odegaard has had dips. Virgil hasn't. Palmer had a dip. Virgil didn't. And Palmer's general level of performance is not as good as Virgil's, regardless. Anyway, good weekend for Liverpool. Good weekend. We maintain our lead. We need to just enjoy this break, reap the benefits of this break. And when we come back to Premier League action next weekend, we need to take care of business. It's a 4-point gap. And that's what we need to maintain. Chelsea have, I think, a pretty easy run, Con. Let's have a look. Actually, maybe not. They're all games they'd be favoured to win. So they go home to Brentford, away to Everton. That could be tricky for them. Just because Everton's style of play is not nice for anyone to play against. And they're a little bit susceptible to the high ball. Because Sanchez is just not a good commanding goalkeeper. Then they're home to Fulham, away to Ipswich, away to Ipswich, away to Palace. Potentially a tricky one there at Palace. Home to Bournemouth. Won't be easy, but they'll be favoured to win. Then they're home to Wolves. Then they're away to City, which will be a big test of them. But we just don't know what City they're going to get. Then it will get tougher for them. They do have West Ham at home, but then it's Brighton away, Villa away. Chelsea home, Southampton home, Leicester home. Then away to Arsenal. Spurs home, away to Brentford. So this next little run is favourable to them, but then it's a tough run after that. We need to maintain our 4-point lead on them. And I think we should. I do. I think we should, because when I look at our fixtures, I'm quietly confident we can put together a run of wins here. Fulham, Spurs away. Key here, no Vicario. Likely no Van de Ven, likely no Romero. So that's important. Leicester home, West Ham away, United home, Forest away. And I think the toughest of all of these is Brentford away on the 18th of January. Now, the same weekend that they play City, we're home to Ipswich, which is one we will be favoured to win. Then we go Bournemouth away, Wolves home, City away. Could be tough, but again, we don't know what City will get. Newcastle home, Southampton home, and then Villa away at the end, in mid-March, which will be tough enough. Now, at some point in all of that, we're going to have to play Everton. So, depending on FA Cup results, it might be somewhere in there where there was a 4th round FA Cup. Maybe us and Everton go out. Well, we won't go out in the 3rd round given the draw. So maybe it's in February. Maybe it's in the midweek between Wolves and City. Something like that. If that's the case, then, it'll be a little bit difficult to go to Everton, to City. But if we've maintained our lead, it's not too bad. I think Chelsea will drop points in some unexpected places this season. They've already done that. Now, we have as well, losing at home to Nottingham Forest. But if we take a quick look at Chelsea, they've drawn at home with Crystal Palace, who were really struggling at the time. They've drawn at home with Forest. That's two examples of games where they would have expected to win and couldn't perform. They also drew away with a bad Manchester United team, but it is away from home. But as me and Carl always say, you get maximum 10 games where you can drop points. If there's a really good team, it's more like 6 to 8. They're already at 6 where they've dropped points. And I think they will just drop points in other games that it wouldn't necessarily have been expected. Arsenal and City, now they've dropped points in 7 games. We've only dropped points in 3. So all these things are very favourable to us. And I saw this from Brundish yesterday, and I thought this was interesting. This is an update on the points per game situation.
This episode is brought to you by Disney Plus. Game on, because ESPN Plus content is available on Disney Plus. You can watch your favorites from Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus together like never before. With ESPN Plus, unwrap a full day of NBA action on Christmas Day. Tip off the festivities with the Spurs and Knicks, followed by the Mavs and Timberwolves. Then a clash between the Lakers and Warriors, followed by the 76ers and Celtics. And finally, the Nuggets face off against the Suns, all streaming December 25th. Then with Hulu, watch the terrifying sci-fi thriller Alien Romulus, where a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the ultimate horror. And on Disney Plus, follow the adventures of 4 kids across the galaxy as they meet unlikely allies and enemies in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, starring Jude Law. All of these and more now streaming and available with a bundle subscription. Visit DisneyPlus.com for details. Terms apply.
Arsenal are currently on pace for 74 points. They're averaging 1.93 points per game. To get to 90, they need 2.65 points per game over the remaining 25 games. That's not right, because it's over the remaining 23 games. They don't have any stretch of more than 12 games at that rate ever. City currently need 2.74. They need 2.74 points per game for the rest of the season. They're currently at 1.8. Liverpool would need 2.29. We're currently at 2.5. We can afford a significant drop-off. And Neil Devlin has actually put these numbers together here as well. So City require 2.74, Arsenal 2.65, and Chelsea 2.57. So that's up half a point a game for Chelsea. Up 0.7 points a game for Arsenal. And nearly a full point a game for City. That's not doable. So for City to get to 90, 23 games remaining, they would need 20 wins and 3 draws, or 21 wins and 2 defeats. Anyone think that looks likely? Didn't think so. Arsenal, 19 wins and 4 draws. 19 wins and 4 draws. They could afford 1 defeat as long as they won one of the other games. It doesn't look likely. Chelsea, 18 wins and 5 draws. For us, 16 wins, 7 draws and 1 defeat would get us to 90 because we've had such a great start. Now, I think we could do that with our eyes closed. We're in a very strong position. A very, very strong position. And we're taking on Girona tomorrow night. Now, we've had a big boost in training today. I was watching the David Lynch podcast earlier, and Ali's back and expected to start. Jota's back, not expected to start, but hopefully on the bench. Should be good for Fulham. Again, not starting, but minutes. Chiesa set to miss out, not injured, thankfully. It's just he's ill, so he didn't train today. He could be good by tomorrow, but probably not. Probably won't take any risks. Probably won't want him around the squad if he's got any kind of bug for risk of it spreading. But fitness, by all accounts, all is good from him. But he is ill. Now, we do have a little bit of bad news. Tyler Morton has suffered an injury. He is set now to miss a little bit of time. Picked up a knock, won't travel. Doesn't look like it's anything too serious, but he would have been nice to have, given we don't have Alexis for this one. Alexis has been given a few days off from training. A well-deserved rest, I would suggest. He's currently in Switzerland, just having a little mini break because he's suspended from this game, and he's also obviously suspended then for the Fulham game. So might as well give him the break. Given he's played through a couple of injuries this season already and Argentina gave him no rest, this is actually a great thing for Alexis. So the Morton injury is unfortunate because with Alexis out, he might have got some minutes here against Girona, coming off the bench maybe. Those minutes will probably go to Endo now. They might have gone to Endo anyway, but it's a shame for Morton. There is good news, though, for a bunch of young players who have been called up to train with the first team. So one of them is James Norris, 21-year-old left-back who's been in our academy, I think, forever. He's been called up, obviously, with Costas out and with Robbo at the age he's at, needing a bit more management. There is a left-back there who potentially plays against Southampton next week, for example. Trainiani and Amaro Nallo are both in the squad. Should likely both travel. Jaden Dans and James McConnell, they're just back from injuries, but they're now back training with the first team. And young Rio Gamoa is also training with the first team, which he has been for a while, and by all accounts is making a significant impression on senior players. And according to a piece on Anfield Watch recently, some of the inside training footage had to be edited to save the embarrassment of some senior players because Gamoa was going at them and making them look quite bad. We have a hell of a prospect on our hands with him. We really do. Him and Trey genuinely look special. What I've seen of Alvin Ayman, I'm hugely impressed with. And Amaranello really impresses me. And obviously we saw last year what Jaden Dans is capable of. Kieran Morrison looks like he's taken a good jump in the academy this year as well. We know that Ben Doak has explosiveness and a lot of talent. This season on loan at Borough, he seems to be taking a step in terms of his decision-making and in terms of his actual end product, which is really promising. So all things considered, it's a really good crop of young players. They're obviously, Stefan Bajcetic is still very young. He's on loan at Salzburg. It hasn't gone great. They have not been good this season. They currently sit 5th in the Austrian Bundesliga. They've been pretty crap in the Champions League as well. They do have a game in hand in the Austrian Bundesliga, but even winning that, they'd need a heavy win to overtake Wolfsburg on goal difference. They're quite a way off the top. 13 points off top, which is, for them, pretty disastrous at this point of the season. Last season, they finished second, 2 points off top. The season before, they won the league. The season before, they won the league. The season before, they won the league, and so on and so forth, dating back many's the year. They have just dominated that league every season. From at least 14-15, they've won that league. Last season, they didn't, so there was big change. And Pep and Linders has come in, and this is now the worst season that they've had in many years, since the middle of the 2000s. Like with the very first Red Bull Salzburg team, this would be on par with, that level. So that's unfortunate for Besiktas because he's caught up in that. And Pep and Linders in recent weeks has not been starting Besiktas. And he did start him at the weekend against Rapid Vienna. He didn't play great. He was taken off. But in the couple of previous games, he was coming off the bench. So they are at least managing his minutes, but the performance level hasn't been there. And it's not helped by the fact that the team is badly set up as we were last year. And the style of football is quite similar to what we were seeing last year. But still a very promising young player. Still a very promising young player that hopefully can, play a part for us in a couple of years. AnfieldIndex.com then. See what's new. Oh, we did have news over the weekend from David Ornstein that we had made a contract offer to Mo. Now, we had news from Ornstein a couple of days earlier to that, which suggested that we'd made one to Virgil, but that it fell short of what Virgil was looking for. This one, the piece from Ornstein didn't suggest that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I did notice, is it Danny Gallagher? Something Gallagher. He works for Reach PLC. A few of the lads seem to think that he's got decent connections. He said he had heard Mo was close to agreeing a 2-year deal. So fingers crossed that one might get done. Hopefully Virgil gets done. And then we see what happens with Trent. Anyway, David Lynch has said that the Merseyside derby being postponed is a good thing for us, and I think he's right. Liverpool set to challenge Real Madrid in the race for Franco Mastantuono, who is the latest budding superstar to come out of the River Plate Academy. Kid does look the absolute business, so would be very much in favour. We've been linked again to Ederson of Atalanta. There's a piece about the injuries and the fixtures and how we can potentially manage our squad. And there's a piece on Alphonso Davies, who has been linked over the weekend. It would be very funny if we could re-sign Trent and sign Alphonso Davies, because Real want both of them. And it would just be magnificent if we ended up with both of them. I think there's a real argument that those are the two best fullbacks in the world. Davies is certainly in the conversation at left back, Theo Hernandez and one or two others as well, but he's right in that mix. And Trent is the best right back, so that'd be quite cool. Podcast-wise, there is a Daily Red from yesterday with Dave Davis, which you can check out. There's also 2 Daily Reds from Saturday. Dave did one, and then I did one because the game was postponed. I also did another podcast, dusted that one off again, and just created a fun little scenario, which was suggested to me by someone, and I still can't remember who. I created the scenario, he gave me the idea, and tried to rebuild a Liverpool squad, buying only from the clubs Jurgen signed players for our 1920 title-winning squad. So those are both out from me over the weekend. Nina and Ben had their final whistle show, so do give that a listen. And today, there's the David Lynch podcast, and there's also a new Media Matters with David Lynch talking about the derby, the Salah stuff, some transfer rumours, including João Pedro, who has been linked. I would be very excited by that. I think he is absolutely perfect for our number 9. And then there's the Julio Soler rumors, which have started up again. Now, he was strongly linked in the summer, and apparently we just couldn't find an agreement on agent fees, which is what scuppered it. 19-year-old Argentine left back, by all accounts, incredibly exciting. I think I've watched him once, and I don't really remember. I know I've seen Llanos play once this season, but I can't remember anything about the game, so I'd have to go rewatch it. But yeah, certainly wouldn't be against bringing him in as long as he's one of 2. So yeah, go and give that a listen. Dave Davis and David Lynch, Monday Lynch time, if you like. And I don't care if you don't like. I like it. That's the name of it. That's going to do me for today. I will be back on Friday. I am not here tomorrow, Wednesday or Thursday. I believe it's Guy tomorrow and Wednesday, and Dave Davis on Thursday. And then I'll be back Friday. So take care of yourselves. Have a good week. Hopefully the Reds can beat Girona, and I think that would all but clinch a spot in the last 8 of the Champions League, which would render not only the 2 games in January in the Champions League completely meaningless to us, but then we'd also get that break in February when other teams will be playing in a playoff round. We will be going straight into the last 16. So hugely beneficial to get this one won and out of the way. Would mean a lot of potential avenues for both rest and rotation. So yeah, right. See you Friday. Enjoy your weeks. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.